keep wanting to start a YouTube channel or a collection of videos, and I've wanted to do this for so long, but I never do it. I never remember, and then I always think I need a better camera. I need somebody else to video me. All those stupid reasons. And I don't know, this may not equate to anything, but it doesn't have to. It might be really good and it might not be. But until I give it a goddamn go, I'm never gonna know, and it's always just gonna be this thought, and I'm always gonna feel guilty about it because I feel like I have things that are worthwhile saying. I don't know, we'll see. It might be sitting on a leaf. It might be a self-indulgent perspective. Don't know, I always think about it. Also, if it's, I don't know if you can hear those cockatoos or the wind, but I'm outside and I'm filming this on my iPhone because I am never going to get around to buying a new camera unless I just start. So I really hope you can hear that because it's very loud. And otherwise, if you can't hear it, I sound like an idiot. But bleh. Let's go. I am making this video because this is the best book I have ever read. Ever. And I have read some goddamn good books. This is bloody wonderful. This is written by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is called Braiding Sweetgrass. I don't know if that's the right way around or not. Anyway, it's all an experiment, this video stuff. Robin Wall Kimmerer is a Native American woman, and she's a scientist. She's an ecologist in the United States. So she has a very unique perspective coming from a Native American background, and then she's been brought up in a Western science I don't want to say culture, thought, framework, whoops. And she's a beautiful writer. So the three things combined is absolutely fascinating. I did a video the other day about how this book and socialism and Rob Bell, who's a ex-mega church pastor in the United States, have all really influenced my perspective on sustainability and climate change. And this deserves its whole own book. I have book video. I don't care how imperfect this video is. I'm making it. I'm going to try and put it out there. And with practice, I'll get better. Anyway, I've picked out 6 different parts of the book. I've underlined it because I just want to be able to flick through and be like, that was a really big aha moment in what she's written. So I picked out different parts. At its essence, this book is a beautiful way of teaching the reader, or us as a collective society, to live in a way that shows gratitude for what we have, and I should talk about gratitude, and then understanding that the gifts of the earth that we recognize through gratitude will only continue being gifts to us if we enter into a relationship of, ready, I'm going to butcher this word, reciprocity. Did it. Nailed it. Good job, me. It's a bit frustrating when you can't pronounce a word properly. Oh. So gratitude, before I enter into this. Gratitude gratitude on a deeper level. People always talk about needing to come from a point of gratitude, and so from a Western perspective, when I've seen things on Instagram say, you know, before you go to bed, think about what you're grateful for, and you're like, okay, I'm grateful for my bed because it's comfortable, and I'm grateful for my family because I love them, which is a really big one. We should really be grateful for our family. Or what else? I'm grateful for, I often say, my education, right? They're the base things, and yes, you should super be grateful for your bed and your education and your family, etc. Go a step deeper. I am grateful for the plants that were grown, the cotton, to make my doona cover. Or if you go a step further, what's in my pillow? Synthetic fluff. So how did that get into my pillow? That was pillaged from the earth and mined, and the fossil fuels we used to create plastic fluff that's now in my pillow that means I can sleep and I have a really comfortable sleep. So it's and I'll read a bit from the book. It's going into that one step deeper. It's like, I'm really grateful for my food, and then you can stop there, or you can go a step further and you go, okay, I've been doing this practice, it's a helicopter, this practice of where I go, okay, I've got my meal in front of me, and I go, okay, well, the bananas came from Queensland, and the coffee came from overseas. I don't actually know. Africa? Somewhere really far away. And so then you're like, okay, well, how did it get here? It got here via the massive amounts of fossil fuels that brought it there. And then you're like, I'm grateful for it. And then if you go that next step and you go, okay, what would a reciprocal relationship with those gifts be? And that's kind of where I'm trying to head with the way that I behave in my own life. Is, okay, well, if I'm grateful for these things and I want them to continue, I don't know if having these particular things, are they gifts? Could I enter a more sustainable relationship with the gifts that are around me? What is truly a gift to me? What am I taking? Those sorts of perspectives. Anyway, let's go into a reading. Let's try and keep this coherent. The Native Americans, now I don't actually know that much about this yet, but the Haudenosaunee, please let me have not butchered that, Haudenosaunee, Confederacy, which is like a group of Native Americans. So what I'm about to read is not all Native Americans have this thing, but I think this is, from what she's explained in the book, this is fundamental to their indigenous culture. They have this Thanksgiving address, which goes for 7 minutes. And they start, I think every day with this, or at least they do in school, or at least in ceremony. And they begin, it's this huge thing, and they give an individual stanza to the water, to the sun, to the stars, and they explain that they're grateful for them, that they guide us home, and that we have a reciprocal relationship with these things. And she has written here, you can't listen to the Thanksgiving address without feeling wealthy. And while expressing gratitude seems innocent enough, it is a revolutionary idea. In a consumer society, contentment is a radical proposition. Recognizing abundance rather than scarcity undermines an economy that thrives by creating unmet desires. Gratitude cultivates an ethic of fullness, but the economy needs emptiness. The Thanksgiving address reminds you that you already have everything you need. Gratitude doesn't send you out shopping to find satisfaction. It comes as a gift, rather than a commodity, subverting the foundation of the whole economy. That's good medicine for land and people alike. I understand that cultural appropriation is a very sensitive topic. But I think with the right mind frame and a humbleness and a constant acknowledgement that if you enter into another culture, that you constantly remind yourself that this is not yours and it's coming from somebody else. But I've been listening to that Thanksgiving address. You can look it up on YouTube. There's a beautiful woman who gives it. Been trying to listen to that each morning. Hi. Probably not every morning, but each morning, because it suddenly puts you in a better perspective. You don't start the day thinking, oh, what don't I have? Or what do I have to work on? Or what do I have to keep, moving towards? You're like, what have I already got? And I understand there are heaps and heaps and heaps of people, majority of the world's populations, that don't have their basic needs met. But there are heaps and heaps and heaps of us Western people who create that experience of lack of stuff, lack of basic needs for other people with our overconsumption. So I think for Western people, a lot of, we lump Western people all in the same boat as well, but a lot of, at least me, people in my situation, I'm extremely privileged. To remember that does really well. Continuing on. Okay. Let's go to this. They're not all this long, by the way. Oh, this is very good. This is me talking about bananas in my breakfast that come from Queensland, or coffee from Africa. Today my house is full of baskets and my favourite are pigeons. In them I can hear John's voice. Now this is alluding to everything else in the chapter, so obviously me reading this book to you is never ever 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 going to grasp the entire book. I am giving this to you as a way of urging you to buy this book. It is the best book I've ever read. Please read it. God, I hope the wind doesn't ruin this video or my rambling. Okay. So she's talking about the baskets. They remind me of the years of a tree's life that I hold in my hands. What would it be like, I wonder, to live with that heightened sensitivity to the lives given for ours? To consider the tree in the Kleenex, the algae in the toothpaste, the oaks in the floor, the grapes in the wine, to follow back the thread of life in everything and pay it respect. Once you start, it's hard to stop, and you begin to feel yourself awash in gifts. I open the cupboard, a likely place of gifts. I think I greet you, jar of jam, your glass whose once was sand upon the beach, washed back and forth and bathed in foam and seagull cries, but who are formed into a glass until you once again return to the sea. And you berries, plump in your Juneness, now in my February pantry. And you, sugar, so far from your Caribbean home. Thanks for making the trip. In that awareness, looking over the objects on my desk, the basket, the candle, the paper, I delight in following their origins back to the ground. That is taking gratitude to the next level. I love that. And then, if you just do that, then all of a sudden you're going to be like, probably having that is not very sustainable and maybe I should pick something else. But you become so complacent, you can be like, oh, I'm so grateful for that. But going the step further can lead you to a more sustainable way of life. Alright, next one. This is about acknowledging plants and animals as living beings that are equal in our humanness, our personhood, I should say. Here it is, almost tax day, so she's in town, everyone's getting ready to pay tax. when my fellow humans are getting ready to make their contribution to the well-being of the community. But the maples have been giving all year long. Their contribution of limb wood kept my old neighbour Mr. Keller's house warm all winter when he couldn't pay the oil bill. The volunteer fire department and the ambulance squad as well rely on maple contributions to their monthly pancake breakfast to raise funds for a new engine. The trees make a real dent in the energy bill for the school with their shade, and thanks to big canopies of maples, nobody I know ever pays a bill for air conditioning. They donate shade to the Memorial Day Parade every year without being asked. If it weren't for the maples' ability to break the wind, the highway department would have to plough snowdrifts off the road twice as often. That way of thinking about trees is so much more valuable than just like giving oxygen, which is a pretty big thing alone in itself. So I thought that was wonderful. I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes. All the rain. Oh God. Anyway, continuing on. So this chapter is called The Honourable Harvest, and it's why is there yellow? It's talking about how when we harvest something, whether it be food, fibre, rocks, etc., fossil fuels, that this be the guidelines of your harvest. And I've shared this on Facebook before. So it says, know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so that you may take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first, never take the last. Take only what you need. Take only which is given. Never take more than half. Leave some for others. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Use it respectfully. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what you have been given. Give a gift in reciprocity for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever. I really do not need to explain that. I think you would get that immediately, but it's just like, don't take all the berries, otherwise the berries can't grow again next season. Stuff like that. We perpetuate the illusion that the things we consume have just fallen off the back of Santa's sleigh, not been ripped from the earth. The illusion enables us to imagine that the only choices we have are between brands. So that just takes that a little further. And then finally, just going on that same sort of thing, all flourishing is mutual. We need the berries, and the berries need us. Their gifts multiply by our care for them and dwindle from our neglect. We are bound in a covenant of reciprocity, a pact of mutual responsibility to sustain those who sustain us. And she talks at one point in the book about how, for example, in a garden, you do the weeding and you plant the seeds, you water the plants. So all of that stuff with our opposable thumb, our ability to collect water, etc., that means that we look after the plants. If we didn't do that, they wouldn't grow, and their gift back is food for us, food, fibre, wood, etc., etc. So the world needs us, the plants need us. It's just the way that we interact with them. So many mosquitoes, it's obscene. So, people often think, humans, we need to get rid of humans. If you look at it that way, if you look at it and sure, they don't need us completely, but they definitely thrive better if we are entering into that relationship in that way. If we plant the beans and then they give back to us, we use those seeds to then perpetuate them the year after. Humans and food plants have co-evolved. and that is a positive relationship with the earth. So that is 20 minutes of me rambling and not doing full justice to this book. If you liked any of what I've just read, they were the bits that stuck out to me. There is so much more substance. I mean, look at that. There's a lot that I'm missing in this 20-minute video. I think in the situation that we're currently in right now with coronavirus and our uncertainty about what the world is going to look like once restrictions are lifted, this, if I can convince enough people to read this, this will put us in a really great mindset to be ready to come out of lockdown. Thanks for watching this video.